Hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And are you sure? Okay, here we go. So I just overheard a conversation about somebody needing some money. I don't know who the person they were talking about. I don't know I don't know the details. All I heard was, why did he ask for money? I would have given him money if he would have asked for money. Listen to this, because I needed to hear that. For some reason, I needed to hear that. I understand why God was telling me to stay where I was at, because I needed to hear that exact conversation. Let me tell you, there are some people that never, ever thought or expected or planned or even wanted to ask for any kind of assistance or help from anybody in their life, period. Meaning they did what they needed to do to get money. They worked. They did the necessary, and they did things above board. They did things the right way. They didn't want to have to reach out and ask somebody for money or assistance, not even their own parents. Not even in their... That's me. I never wanted to ask anybody for any kind of assistance other than God. God blessed me to have a career, have jobs, even businesses that were able to produce enough money to be able to take care of myself and my household without having to ask for anything. Not WIC, not SNAP, nothing. No assistance. And I was thankful because I knew that there were other people out there that were having more difficult time than me being able to take care of themselves. And they needed those resources. But even going to my own family, my own parents, I didn't want to do that. The times that I went to my parents to ask for money, when I tell you I was in dire straits, the first time I went and asked for assistance from my parents, it was Mike that wanted me to go and ask my parents for assistance. It was him that told me, go and ask your parents for some assistance so we can take care of these bills, because at the time, things were not doing too good. Money was coming in, but not enough. And I don't even know exactly what Mike was doing with some of that money. You understand what I'm saying? So it's possible that things would have been resolved or taken care of, but I don't know that it was not done intentionally so that I would have to go to my parents. I paid them back every dime. Plus, I gave them a gift certificate so they could go out to dinner at a restaurant. It's like a $100 gift certificate, $150 gift certificate, something like that, gift card. So I gave them more back than what they gave me. The last time that I asked my parents for any assistance, it was after I had lost my job. I wasn't sure how I was going to even make my car note. My car note was behind. Bills at the house were behind. I believe I was able to make the mortgage payment, but I still needed to pay the electricity bill, which was over $500. I had to ask my father to send me money to cover my electricity bill. I didn't want to do that because he never lets anything go. He always holds things over your head. He tells your business to any and everybody around. I lent so-and-so money, blah, 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 because they couldn't do this or they couldn't. He does that type of crap. That's one of the main reasons why I didn't want to ask for any help from my parents. Because a lot of the times, they were the ones that were instigating my downfalls and setbacks up in life. Because they were not able to do. They didn't want me to be able to do. Because they had to depend on other individuals early on in life. They didn't want me to not have to depend on them. They knew that I was talented. They knew that I was gifted. They knew I was great at what I did for my career. And they were jealous and they were hateful that I was doing so well. and not needing their assistance because everybody else in the family needed their assistance. My sister needed their assistance. My brother needed their assistance. Their grandchildren needed assistance. But I was the one that wasn't trying to go to them asking them for anything. I was the one that was trying to do it on my own, or better yet, do it with God. And they hated that. They hated that I didn't depend on them. So they were trying to force me to depend on them. And it wasn't the first time that they tried. They tried this quite a few times. But they ramped up these attacks after Mike passed away. I was taking care of things on my own. But I tell you this, when I lost my career, when I was wrongfully terminated from my career, that was all manipulated. I saw the manipulation happening over the course of 2 years. And I saw when they were ramping up the attacks. When I tell you, there are some people that will not ask you for assistance or ask anybody for assistance. You know what? We go and ask strangers for assistance before we would go and ask our own parents, our own family for assistance. Because they'll want to hold that over our heads as we needed them. When no, they really needed us. And because we didn't need them, but we loved them, we cared about them, we did spend time with them, that wasn't good enough for them. They wanted us to be in a position to where we would have to beg, borrow, and plead. And when we refused, they forced us to have to be able to beg, borrow, and plead. And then when we didn't beg, borrow, and plead from them, when we depended on God, trusted in God to be our provider for whatever it is that we needed, they got angry. They started attacking even heavier. Tried to cause more negativity to happen in our lives, to where we would be forced to go to them. And God removed us. I'm an example. I'm a testimony. It happened to me. So, I needed to hear that conversation. I don't even know what the situation is, but what they were talking about, I totally understand what was probably going on in the person that they were talking about in particular, specifically. That person doesn't want to be in a position where they're made to look like a fool, where they're made to feel as if they're less than. They're going a different route, and I pray the route that they're going is trusting God and asking God for guidance, because I'm going to share this before I end this video. Throughout the entire time of me losing, God taking away certain people, places, my home, my career, Mike, friends, associates, one of the things that God kept telling me on repeat, do not go to your parents. Do not ask your dad for anything. Do not ask your mother for anything. Do not ask certain people for any kind of help or assistance. I will guide you on where it is I want you to go. You just listen, you obey, and follow my directive. That's it. So maybe that individual is following God's directive and not asking his parents or those two individuals for anything because of what they're going to make him feel like and or possibly engage in to get their assistance. Some people are bullies. They're bullies. They'll bully their children if it makes them feel better about themselves and superior. Ask me how I know. This is not me harping, and this is not me expressing any kind of anger towards them. I've forgiven them from everything that they've done. Everything. But this is my story. This is my truth. And I'm sharing this with you so that you're aware there are these types of people out here in the world, and they may just be your own parents or your family members that will do this stuff to you. I can leave it at that.